On today's episode of Healthcare Heartbeat, we are going to be talking with Daniel Egypto, who is a nurse from Brazil who completed the Avant process and is now living his best life in the USA.
You're listening to Healthcare Heartbeat, brought to you by Avant Healthcare Professionals.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Healthcare Heartbeat. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest, our very own Avant alumni himself, Daniel Egypto. How are you doing, Daniel?
Hey, Alistair. Thank you for having me here.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have
good.
you. It's great to see an Avant alumni back in the nest.
Yeah, thank you. It's like, it feels like coming back home.
Oh,
It feels like every time I come to Avant Healthcare, I feel like home.
Oh, perfect. Even if it is a different office.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So
it feels the same. People are here so nice. So
that's it. So, all right. So let's start by learning a little bit about you.
Awesome.
So my first question, when did you decide that nursing was your vocation, that it was going to be the profession that you were going to do for the rest of your life?
So nursing for me feels like a calling. I always like to help people, and especially on their dire moments when they are facing problems. I was there stepping up to try to help them. And I also had a family member, she was a nurse, so she inspired me to start this career, this pathway of being a nurse. So
that's often the case, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think nursing runs in the family for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, they relate to some special moment in their life. They got in touch with a person who needs something or have a family member. I have both experience. So
fantastic. And how long have you been a nurse now?
Over 18 years, 5 of those by being a US-RN.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's
Incredible.
been like a blessing.
Wow, amazing. And I bet you've seen a lot of changes, a lot of
Oh
new
yeah,
things
a
in
lot
that
of
time.
changes. I worked during the COVID when I got here, first in the United States, and my experience, my background is all built up in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Brazil for over 10, 12 years by being an ER nurse back there. So a lot of background.
Okay, fantastic. So you're an ER nurse in Brazil.
Yeah.
What made you decide, I want to give the USA a try?
Yeah, that's a hard question because first I need to say at the point that I made the decision to come to the US, I was kind of lost. After so many years working in an ER back in Brazil, I was feeling overwhelmed. I was feeling that I got to a point where I was asking myself, what is the next step? What are you going to do next? So I was scrolling on my social media and I found Avant Healthcare, and I learned that maybe coming to the United States was a good idea, a new challenge. I'm kind of I'm a person who is motivated to challenges. So I kind of, okay, that might be my call.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a try. So that's why I'm motivated to try to give my family a better life, my kids a new cultural experience. So I was trying to do something new.
Yeah, brilliant. So you said you found Avant, you were scrolling on social media and then Avant.
Yeah, actually, when we, especially for ATPs all around the world, I think they gonna be relating to this. When you decide or are looking for information how to change your life, and you decide to come to the United States to be a nurse, you always try to rely on something that you can see other nurses having the same experience. If they are successful, we always kind of measuring that. And I found Avant Healthcare, and through their social media, you share a bunch of nurses. They are so successful here in the United States. So that motivated me to look more about Avant Healthcare. And I saw that you've been doing a great job over the years. So I kind of decided to give myself opportunity, and I think it was one of the best choices I made in my whole life to trust Avant Healthcare. helped me out to during this transitioning from Brazil to United States.
Fantastic, fantastic. And now, can you believe it? We're 5 years from that time.
I still live in the dream. Like still like it feels like I'm dreaming all the time because when I was in Brazil, I felt that I could never achieve the goal that was to come to the United States to be a U.S. resident and achieve the citizenship. It was not achievable. And since I touching base with Avant Healthcare that support me throughout the whole steps, and I was just time by time achieving my goals,
Yeah.
it's kind of like it's still unbelievable. It feels like a dream still for me though.
And not only that, but now you're in the video that might inspire the next people to come over. So it's like a cycle.
I know there's a lot of nurses out there. They are looking for my experience to make the decision to apply through Avant Healthcare to come to the United States. And all I have to tell them is worth it.
Fantastic, fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about the Avant process. So the first step is to apply.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about your application process and what that was like?
So the process it was like thorough but supportive.
Right.
So my recruiter at that time, she was so nice, and I felt that she was always concerned about myself. As I said, I've been nursing for 18 years, and I've been applying for now as an independent nurse. I've been applying for different companies, and I have to tell you, I never felt what I felt when I applied for Avant Healthcare, because some companies, they just think the process is mechanized, which means you just like give the information, you receive the feedback, and you go from there. But my recruiter, she was so approachable. She was always concerned about me. Some people are concerned about the timeline, how I need to receive a reply as fast as I can. There's a lot of nurses out there, they're applying at the same time. I have that understanding at that time. And she was always like touching base with me, checking up on me, checking up on my family. So that made the whole process so personable.
Yeah.
And I felt comfortable. I feel like I was being taken care of during the whole process.
Yeah.
So she guided me through all documentation I needed to apply through Avant Healthcare at that time, and also she guided me through NCLEX and immigration process. So it was a very cool process.
Fantastic. Yeah, that human touch is so important, especially when you're, putting yourself out there so much. It's such a big process. You want to make sure that you relate on a personal level with the people that you're working with. So I'm really happy to hear that.
Oh, yeah.
So you mentioned it briefly, but for those who might not know, if you haven't made an application yet, if you're at the beginning of your journey, first of all, make your application right now. Go for it. But second of all, one thing you may know is that all nurses who want to come to the US need to pass NCLEX. And you mentioned it very briefly. So can you tell us a little bit about the NCLEX exam and your preparations for it and how you went through it?
So the NCLEX preparation for me stood out from everything that I saw out there. People touching base with me, asking me questions like, hey, what advice do you give me to prepare myself for NCLEX? I say, hey, apply through Avant Healthcare and go through their program, because they have a very reliable people, very knowledgeable teachers. You go through online classes to all the resources they offer you to study for NCLEX, and I felt very confident. Even though I was like a non-U.S. citizen or whatever, I never been in the U.S., I don't know the culture, but going through the program, the Avant Healthcare program for NCLEX, I felt confident, and I passed on my first try on NCLEX.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
There you go.
It was amazing. It was amazing and unbelievable. I thought at that time that I couldn't make it, but during the program, I was feeling more confident every day more. When I was doing the mocking test, the teachers, they were like, hey, you're doing a great job. You ready to sit for the test? And I sit for the test and I pass it.
Hey, fantastic.
Yeah.
No, it's good to have that motivation, and because nurses are busy people, right?
Yep.
So having that motivation outside of work to do that extra bit of studying, to get those mock tests and everything, it's worth its weight in gold.
Yes,
Absolutely,
it
absolutely.
is.
So it's not the only exam you have to complete before you come
Yep.
to the US. So the English language requirements as well. Again, if you want to come over to the US, the expectation is for most people that you will need to take a English language proficiency exam. So I imagine that was the same case for you. Tell us a little bit about your experience with that.
Yeah, that was the challenge one, because by the time I decided, I made a decision to come to the United States to become a nurse over here, I had no English at all. In Brazil, we just speak Portuguese, and that's all about that. I know there's a lot of like nurses around the world. They have like English as the first language, but not in Brazil. And I had to improve my English, and again, Avant Healthcare stood out through my recruiter by giving me the best resources to sit for the test, to study for the test, to best prepare for the test. And I think I gave myself opportunity to study. I think one of the best things I can give out to people how to best prepare for the English test is to give themselves and expose themselves more often to the English language, and also learn about the structure of whatever test you're gonna take. Again, Avant Healthcare, they gonna offer you resources to study and sit for the test, and you're gonna feel more confident. And I felt more confident for the test. I sit it, I pass it, and it was amazing.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. So alongside these exam requirements and documentation and things like that is immigration, right? That is maybe the top thing on everyone's lips right now is the immigration process and its retrogression, right? And it's
It's a huge thing.
it's really is a top topic right now. Can you tell us a little bit about your time, waiting in the immigration in the immigration process, and tell us a little bit, was it worth it? Was it worth the wait?
I have to tell you that gives me like anxiety still, because everybody, when they make that decision, they pass the test, they start to get anxious because, hey, I have everything prepared, everything spec'd, I'm ready to go to the United States. And now the immigration process, and especially right now with the retrogression, right? It took a long time for me too, but I think I was well prepared for the time that I was waiting for the whole process. The person who was dealing with me during the immigration process, they were giving me all the timelines. Hey Daniel, this is was happening right now. So you need to wait for the next step. The next step will be this. So that helped me out to reduce my anxiety. And when I look back to the Daniel 5 years ago, when I applied for Avant Healthcare, was waiting for the immigration process, I have to tell Daniel at that time, hey, it's worth it. Because after you wait, after you achieve your goal to come to the United States, in a perspective of a person who got the residency through the green card and now is a citizenship, has the citizenship here in the United States, the whole process is worth it. I know it's gonna take long. It's taking long for you guys, but it's worth it. It's worth it. That's all I have to tell them.
The years are going to pass regardless, right? That's
yeah,
what we always
yeah.
say. So you may as well get that application in as soon as you can, and have that guidance with us.
I like to say we manage what we can manage. So if I have to give any tips for people that are applying right now, they're waiting for immigration process, do as quick as you can. You manage what you can manage. So what you can manage, you can go study hard to pass the NCLEX, to pass the English test. That's what you can manage. You give yourself the best of yourself to pass those tests as quick as you can, and then rely on Avant Healthcare because they're gonna guide you through the immigration process the quicker as they can, and they gonna give you resource for you to wait the process and understand the process. I think that by understanding the process, that reduces the anxiety. and trust the process.
Trust the
They're gonna
process.
guide you.
That's
Yeah,
it.
they're
It's
gonna
always the
guide you.
way. It's
Yeah,
always the way.
it's worth it. It's worth it. I have to tell
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely. So you've completed all your exams. You have waited through the immigration process. You've done your interview, and you've taken the flight to the US. So can you describe how it felt? Your first time touching down on US soil, and then what happened next?
That gave me shivers because it's a different culture, it's a different place, and just by imagine me coming to the United States, get here in Orlando, and I was realizing my dream, which was experience this U.S. culture. I was being able there at that time to start my journey on working on in one of the best hospitals in the whole world with the technology, with their culture development, healthcare. I was just kind of like cheering inside, like, hey, you made it. And that we were just talking about the immigration process, the long wait, and also the all stress to pass English tests and also NCLEX when you get here, when you step inside the United States, and then when you feel that feeling that like, hey, the whole process was worth it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so
That's the meaning. Yeah.
yeah, that's what it's all about. That's what
Yep.
it's all about at the end of the day. So when you get to Orlando, then begins the Avant Transitions program. So our process of teaching you cultural aspects, the clinical aspects of practicing in the US. Can you tell us a little bit about your time in the Transitions program?
Oh, it was amazing. I remember my anxiety, my second anxiety. First was coming to the United States. The second was starting my journey in in the U.S. in a different culture, in a different culture, healthcare culture inside the hospitals. But since day one, through the Avant Healthcare program here in Orlando, I have a blast days here because people there they were preparing me for the cultural differences I would face in the U.S., the cultural differences I would face inside the hospitals, how to drive, how to face the new experience of like being in a place with snow, to drive on the snow, to take my drive license. So you guys, you made this whole process lighter because you were just there by my side showing me, hey Daniel, that's your next step, that's what you need to do. When you have a company that prepare you like that, it makes it easier for you to be concerned about other things like your family, like this transition to a new culture, to a new place, to a new country. So I learned a lot and I received the support that I needed to start my life here in the United States. And that was amazing. I have no words to describe it. I just invite you all to apply to come here to the United States and see what I'm trying to tell you, which is you're gonna have like a company who's gonna guide you through the process of starting a new life in a new country. So it is amazing.
Fantastic.
It
And
was.
listen, from an English guy to a Brazilian guy, maybe the biggest cultural change was having to call football soccer.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still getting used to it, but we can make it happen. And yeah, it's our transitions program is it's a really special thing, and you make friends for life in that
Yep.
time, and it's a really big change, just culturally, yes, but also clinically, and getting ready for practice in the US. Could you tell us a little bit about the clinical transitions program and the impact
Yeah,
on that for
the
you?
clinical, like when we compare my life back in Brazil to here in the United States as a nurse, it's kind of like similar. You kind of have the same patient centric care. You're always going around the patient, but the way you deal with the healthcare system itself is kind of different because you're gonna need to be more knowledgeable because you're gonna need to orient the patient. You're gonna have opportunities to prescribe and also be by the patient side and advocate for the patients. And with the whole technology you have available for you right here. And when I was doing the clinical transition, Avant Healthcare was just showing me the pathways to navigate those venues of clinical changing, also how to deal with the new technology. It was amazing.
Yeah, fantastic. So,
Yeah.
so then once you're on assignment and you're starting to work in the, in your new hospital in the US, what do you think are the main similarities, I guess, between working in the US and working in Brazil?
Yeah, like as I said, the patient is gonna be your goal. You're gonna be going around the patient. The care feels the same, but the way you deal with the patient, you're gonna need to be more knowledgeable because you are the key person when you think about patient treatment. Of course, there's a lot of like other people that gonna give the care, like doctors, like the whole team is gonna be there to support you, but they all gonna rely on you on advocate for your patients. And also the technology, I think that's the best, the the top concern I had on that time, because healthcare system here, it runs so fast. Everything works so fast. So you need to get used to the protocols. You need to get used to the technology that's available for you to make the whole care worth it and make the whole care work.
Right.
So it's something that I need to adapt myself, but I was well prepared when I got to my assignment. When I was here in Orlando, we worked a lot on those differences that made me feel more confident when I went to my assignment. So I'm still learning. We're always learning something new.
That's right.
We're always learning a new protocol. But here in the U.S. is all related to protocols. And when you get used to the protocols, to the technology, you feel yourself more confident
Absolutely.
to be a nurse over here.
Absolutely. And as I mentioned it before, being a nurse is to be busy, right?
Yep.
You are always
Yep.
busy. So finding that work-life balance is one of the most important things that you can do. How do you feel work-life balance in the US compares to work-life balance in Brazil?
So I think the U.S. has a more structured schedule that gives me more opportunity to stay with my family.
Right.
That's one of my goals when I came to the United States. I would like to have more time to stay with my family, to play with my kids. In Brazil, I was like working crazy hours, and I had no time to do that. I think that's the main difference. I think here in the United States, I can work better my schedule to stay with my family in comparison when I was in Brazil.
Fantastic. And so you worked on your assignment with Avant, and then reached the end goal, which is reaching the end of your Avant contract. Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like coming to the end of that contract?
He was like, it was a moment of anxiety because after you get used to the Avant support, every time you need it, you have a person by your side. They are guiding you, they are supporting you, they are giving you that feedback that you need in a hard moment. Every time I had like a question clinically when I was in my hospital, I was calling Avant Healthcare, hey, what I do now? And they were giving me the next step. Just by knowing that I was completing my contract, that I would be by myself, I was anxious about the new world that was open to me, like by being like an independent nurse. But also I was like a little bit sad because I was losing this tie that I had with Avant Healthcare. But it was a blessing. It was a blessing completing my contract. I was feeling so comfortable on my assignment with the team I had over there, the team I had through Avant Healthcare. So I after the years with Avant Healthcare, I felt more comfortable to start my journey by myself and by completing the contract was just like the start of this new me here in the United States. So
Fantastic. That's brilliant. And so, having completed your contract, what are your professional, personal goals that you have now that you're now that you
I
finished?
think I eventually am gonna try to follow the managerial pathway, just to try to give back to nursing what nursing gave me over the 18 years. I like to share a little bit more my experience with my peers at work. So leadership is something that I'm looking for right now. Yep.
Fantastic. So, how about outside of work? What about personal life? Things outside of work. What are the goals?
So me and my family, we are very outdoorsy
Uh-huh.
people. We like to hike. We like to try new food. We like to go for a walk in the nature. We like to explore. Recently, we just went to a cruise together,
Wow,
me and my
fantastic.
family. So we're having a blast
Oh,
here in the United States. Such a great time we are be able to experience here. So
terrific, terrific. And of course, one of the main benefits of coming over on permanent residency is the pathway to citizenship. And I understand you've recently became a U.S. citizen, so congratulations. I also recently became a U.S. citizen.
yay!
Yeah,
Congratulations!
about a year and a half ago. So
Congratulations!
fantastic. So can you tell us a little bit, how did it feel to finally obtain that
It's
U.S.
feeling
citizenship?
like closing a cycle. We start that conversation by saying like how anxious I was in Brazil by applying through Avant Healthcare, by anxious I was waiting for the whole immigration process, the retrogression, sitting for NCLEX, studying for English, starting a new career in a new hospital, coming to the cultural changes, preparedness that I had here in Orlando through Avant Healthcare. But when I got to the citizenship, everything made sense. By that time, when I was sitting there just looking for the flag, receiving my certificate, and now I'm a U.S. citizen, I was like, oh, the whole process is so worth it, so worth it. And I was feeling that I was completing the cycle. I was doing like when they play baseball, they say I was doing the home run.
Uh-huh.
I started the journey and I completed it. So now I feel more prepared to give to the U.S. back everything they gave me. Like as a U.S. citizen right now, I feel more prepared to fight for the country, for to help the healthcare system to improve each day more. So it was a blessing complete the contract. It is a blessing to be a citizen today. So the whole process is worth it.
Yeah. And flying home with an American passport is still a bizarre
Oh,
experience for me.
yeah.
But it really does. It feels like, yeah, like you said, like coming like
Yeah, first time
coming
that
to
you
that
use a
responsibility.
passport, like I told you, I was just in a cruise. We went to Bahamas,
Uh-huh.
and they like, hey, do you have a U.S. passport? And you're like, yes, I do have. It's a strange and like very nice feeling that
That's right.
now you have like a citizenship. So
Absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely. So we're coming to the end of our conversation. So
Oh.
it's been such a pleasure to have you on the podcast today. So a last few questions for you. So there's going to be a lot of people watching this who are still deciding on their next steps, right? Maybe they've already made an application. Maybe they haven't. Maybe they're thinking about that process. What advice would you give to nurses from Brazil, nurses from elsewhere, considering moving to the USA?
So I wrote some things here that I really like it.
Prepare.
When
I like it.
I prepared that answer that I really like it. My advice to Brazilians and any nurse worldwide that are considering to move is simple. Believe in yourself and trust Avant Healthcare to guide you. The process may seem doubting, but with perseverance, you will build a life you are proud of. Take it one step at a time, stay motivated, and know that US has so much to offer nurses willing to chase their dream. And I really like this because United States, they are open to give you opportunity, and they give prices to people. They are here to work and to help the country to develop, to keep moving forward. And the whole process is so worth it. And rely on Avant Healthcare when you apply to come to the United States. Is the only company that I can say that's trustful. You can see through my experience that's the whole process is worth it, and you can trust them.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So that just about wraps us up for today. So Daniel, thank you so much. It's
You're
been a pleasure.
welcome. It is for me too.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you watching at home, if you've not done so already, make that application. If you want to be like Daniel and live out your American dream, the first step is to apply. So do that today. And don't forget, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you'll get even more episodes just like this. We can't wait to see you next time.
Thanks for listening. This has been Healthcare Heartbeat by Avant Healthcare Professionals, the leader in international healthcare staffing and recruitment, where we change the lives of healthcare professionals every day. Make sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to this podcast for new episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time.